Hey, what's going on, family? Thank you for checking out this podcast snippet. If you like what you hear in this snippet, you can tune in to the full podcast episode by clicking the links below in the description. Thank you, and until the next time we hop on the podcast together, shalom.
I believe it's Hebrews 13:8, and the scripture says Jesus Christ the same yesterday, today, and forever. And the reason why I wanted to share that with the people was, to encourage them, like, listen, God, he has not changed. Jesus has not changed. Everything that he's promised, he's going to still do. Everything that he said that's going to happen from now and until eternity is going to happen, in spite of anything that you see, anything that is going on. Remember that God still has it all under control, and that all of this stuff, all of these things that are happening are meant to be. But what we are meant to do is to keep our focus on the Lord, to keep our commitment to the Lord, to not, take our hand out of his hand. I believe it's in John chapter 10. It talks about how nobody, no one can pluck us out of the Lord's hands. The devil can't, circumstances can't, demons can't, none of those things. And that's why Satan always tries to get us to do things that will separate us from the Lord, just like he tried to do, or not tried to do, but just like he did with Adam and Eve in the garden, how he tempted Eve and got her to disobey God. That's what he does. He tries to tempt us to separate ourselves from God and walk away from God, because he knows that God will never walk away from us, because he does not change. God is not a flat lever, like he's not like how we are, when we get upset with God or things don't go our way. We are quick to turn our back on God. We're quick to walk away and say, well, let's find another way to get this thing done. Just like the children of Israel, when you go back to, I believe it's Exodus 32, how, Moses was up on the mountain and he was talking to the Lord, and the Lord told him to get down the mountain because the people had turned aside from him quickly. But if you read those scriptures in Exodus 32, the people were saying that Moses was taking too long to come down. But when God addressed Moses and told him what was happening, God said that they had turned aside quickly. And what was God saying? That, listen, my timing is not your timing. But a lot of times when things don't happen in our time and when we think they should happen, what do? We walk away, or we say God has let us down, or he didn't keep up his end of the bargain. And a lot of times that's just not the case. God knows exactly what he's doing, and everything is going to happen in his timing. But my whole point of everything that I'm saying right now is God is not going to change on us. He is not going to turn his back on us. But a lot of times it is us that fall short, and we find ourselves coming up with all these plans and all of these things that are going to happen in our life and that we believe in God for, not necessarily seeking and asking God, is this something that, you want for my life? But instead, we just write these things down and say, this is what I'm going to do. That's what I'm going to do. This is what I'm going to obtain. And sometimes it's not even in the plan of God. And unfortunately, when it does not happen, we find ourselves walking away from God. So I wanted to encourage you guys on this week that, listen, don't allow your circumstances, don't allow what you see going on in this world, don't allow what you see going on in the political arena. Don't allow these things to shake your faith in God. No matter how bad it looks, no matter how things look like they're not going your way. Remember what Romans 8:28 says. It says, and we know that. This is the first thing that you have to do. And this is a part of the scripture sometimes we jump over that we don't mention when we quote the scripture. The beginning of that scripture, Romans 8:28, which is a highly quoted scripture, we always kind of leave off that beginning part. And we know that all things work together for who? For the good of those that love God and those that are called according to his purpose. So what that scripture is saying is, whatever you look at to perceive as negative or positive, it does not matter. If you love God and you have been called according to his purpose, it is all working out for your good. And that's something that we have to know. We have to be sure of. Without